This is the CBS Evening News. I'm Charles Kuralt, sitting in for Dan Rather. Good evening. After the hard facts of disaster, the hard questions. The hard facts are these. A United Airlines DC-10 with 293 people aboard crashed yesterday while attempting an emergency landing at Sioux City, Iowa. Amazingly, at last count, 184 people survived. And now the hard question. Why did the plane crash? Mark Phillips looked into that.
How a state-of-the-art airplane bound for Chicago became a cartwheeling ball of fire on a Sioux City runway is the mystery NTSB investigators began trying to unravel today. The crash impact footprint spread over an area close to a mile long. Investigators said it was the biggest crash site they'd ever seen. But the site, the radio reports of the pilot, and the recollections of survivors have already begun to yield clues.
Air Traffic Control Center in Minneapolis was told that by this flight that they had lost their number 2 engine.
The plane was at cruising altitude when its number 2 engine, the tail engine, blew. Parts of it were found in a farmer's field miles away.
45 minutes before we crashed, the engine blew. There was an explosion, literally an explosion.
After he regained control of the aircraft, pilot A.C. Haynes then radioed his problems were getting worse.
Shortly later, after 3:17, they were told that they had lost their hydraulics.
The DC-10 has 3 separate hydraulic systems running off its engines. The systems are supposed to be independent to protect against complete loss of control. But the plumbing for those systems is interconnected at various places on the plane, particularly in the tail section. The violent explosion of the tail engine could well have severed all the hydraulic lines in that area.
And my only explanation to complete hydraulic system failure is that when number 2 exploded, it did in some way pierce the protective casing and severed the interconnecting hydraulic lines.
Investigators have found 3 engines at the crash site, and with them have found another clue.
We have one engine that is missing the fan section of the engine.
The type of engine used in this DC-10, a General Electric model, has had some problems in the past with partial disintegration of its fan section. At Purdue University today, a flight simulator was used to see if a jetliner could be flown with a complete hydraulic failure that was reported on the United flight. 4 out of 5 times, the simulator crashed.
I don't think that anybody has ever tried to land a DC-10 before without any hydraulic systems. Nobody's ever done that. There are no procedures for it.
This afternoon, the flight recorder boxes arrived in good shape in Washington, where they'll be examined. With the inquiry only in its preliminary stages, investigators say there is no cause and there are no plans to ground the entire DC-10 fleet. Mark Phillips, CBS News, Sioux City.
A disaster like the crash of United Flight 232 produces its heroes. Sioux City, Iowa, a city of 82,000, seemed rich in heroes after this crash. There were vacationing, off-duty, and former employees at the city's 2 hospitals who returned to work, so that at times there were 2 doctors for every injured passenger. There were the people who formed a line a block and a half long to donate blood, so the supply was triple what was needed. There were hospitals in Sioux Falls and Omaha, which donated so many medical supplies that one of the hospitals in Sioux City said it received 5 months' inventory in 3 hours. There were students at Briarcliff College who acted just like family for travelers who spent the night at the school. After the crash, there were stories of violent death and of incredible survival. Frank Courier begins our reports.
In a grim sweep through mud and field corn, an inch at a time, National Guard troops today searched for more bodies, crash victims still unaccounted for at the Sioux City disaster site.
The wreckage is bad, and I think we can be deeply thankful that those that survived did survive.
Crash investigators, witnesses, and survivors today are calling it a miracle. How a jumbo jet packed with nearly 300 people can crash land in a ball of flame, and more than half live to tell about it.
When you're flying at a steady speed and all of a sudden feel like you hit a brick wall, it's exactly what it felt like.
And I could just feel myself rolling and rolling. It was terrible.
Some are attributing Flight 232's survival rate in part to clear weather, soft rain-swollen ground, and the airport's high state of readiness.
We've practiced, we've drilled, we work together, we coordinate together.
United Airlines, whose chairman today viewed the crash site, was quick to applaud the veteran pilot, Al Haynes.
His performance obviously was extraordinary. He's a 33-year veteran of United, obviously a very, very experienced pilot.
Others say it was fate, the way the jet flipped and skidded end over end, protecting the cockpit, the aft cabin, and 11 rows in the center of the fuselage. These were people who simply walked away.
Rows 9 through 19 were the people with no injury or only minor injuries, because that structure was intact around them.
It's a phenomenal thing that this many people survived it.
While many today rejoiced the phenomenal luck of those who survived Flight 232, others saw only the horror of an aviation disaster and reflected on the tragedy of so many lives lost in an Iowa cornfield. Frank Courier, CBS News, Sioux City.
I didn't look back. I just kept telling everybody to run.
We all three grabbed hands, and then we ran down a road.
The survivors who stayed overnight in a dormitory at Briarcliff College couldn't stop talking about it. The crash, their escape, their incredible good fortune.
Never honestly thought it was the end.
They talked about their fear as if talking about it would make the images go away.
I thought we were going to crash, and we did.
But again and again, the joy.
Oh, man. I'm surprised I'm alive.
So miraculous how so many of us made it.
Ellen Badiz was sitting with 2.5-year-old Aaron. Her husband Adrian and 6-year-old Eric were 14 rows ahead, but they all got out. And now Adrian and Eric are patients at the Marion Health Center.
She talked about the crash a whole lot last night. He had a hard time sleeping. Eric and I thought my wife and his brother died. Because, you just look at this devastation and say, how can anybody leave through that?
Miracle. That's the survivor's word. The Michelsons made it through, and so did 1-year-old Sabrina, who for a while was lost.
To me, and on impact, she was just wrenched completely from my arms, and I didn't know where she was, sucked out the window or in debris or what.
Sabrina was on the floor between the seats. Another survivor picked her up.
That everybody's there and everybody's walking and nobody had any bruises to speak of, or just a miracle at that point.
They stand in the windows, these survivors, looking out over a countryside so peaceful that one could hardly imagine a disaster here. But it did happen, and these men and women and children will never forget it.
I'm not sure that I want to go to sleep yet. I'm not sure that I want to be alone yet. Because there's stuff that happened that I don't really want to think about.
But he is thinking about it. They all are. Betsy Aaron, CBS News, Sioux City, Iowa.
Still to come on the CBS Evening News, Leslie Stahl on the president's call for a return to the moon in the next decades, and David Browning on those men who were on the moon just 2 decades ago today.
35 degrees, 750, coming down to 23. 540 feet and a 15.
Victoria.
What? They finally found a substitute for the sweet roll.
Hey. Nutrigrains, almond raisin.
What is this, nuts and twigs?
Try almonds, raisins, and these great flakes made with brown rice.
But there's no sugar added.
Irv, you're gonna love the taste, even though it's healthy.
Hey, don't you have a story to write? How's this? Man eats healthy food and lives.
The amazing taste of Nutrigrains almond raisin.
It's news.
What's the best kind of fruit? The kind that's fresh, moist, and plump. That's why Sunsweet are my favorite kind of pitted prunes. Moist, plump, and fresh. Sunsweet, because the best prunes are fresh prunes.
There are headaches.
And the car payment is overdue.
And headaches. There's aspirin. And Anacin. The Anacin aspirin formula relieves headaches better than regular aspirin.
Feeling better, hun?
Not just better, better.
Anacin. Better relief.
Only Red Lobster could create an event this big. Lobster Fest 89. Lobster choices like nowhere else, starting at just $7.95. Get ready to savor sweet rock lobster or luscious Maine lobster. New platters like lobster and crab. Great lobster dishes starting at just $7.95. Kids dinner $1.95. Don't miss Lobster Fest now at Red Lobster. Friday through Sunday, it's our weekend special. Steak and shrimp, just $10.95.
The Federal Reserve Chairman, Alan Greenspan, said today the central bank has been pushing down interest rates since June to keep the country from sliding into a recession. But in his mid-year report to Congress, he said that might not work. Business correspondent Ray Brady reports.
I wish I could say that he's the man most responsible for the American economy. And today, Chairman Alan Greenspan of the Federal Reserve Board indicated to Congress he's more worried about a recession than about inflation.
What we seek to avoid is an unnecessary and destructive recession.
So Greenspan has been easing up on interest rates, letting them fall a bit so consumers could step up their spending just enough to keep the economy from falling into recession, but without bringing back inflation.
The major implication of Chairman Greenspan's statement today is that we'll see a gradual easing in interest rates, but no big drop.
While lower rates may help, the Fed chairman himself warned the economy's been on a roll and good times can't go on forever.
Someday, some event will end the extraordinary string of economic advances that has prevailed since late 1982.
If a slowdown does come, say some economists, that's because the Fed itself simply hasn't acted forcefully enough.
Even though interest rates are coming down, they're coming down too slowly, so the interest-sensitive sectors like housing and autos get hit again.
Some critics argue that banks aren't doing much to help. They note that Chase Manhattan Bank recently cut its prime rate, but none of the other giant banks followed.
If I were a banker, I would wait as well, because the longer I wait, the larger my profit margins are.
All this is turning into a kind of cat and mouse game, with many banks saying they're waiting for the Federal Reserve to make it cheaper for them to borrow money, and then they add they'll cut their interest rates. Charles?
Ray, thank you. Well, on this anniversary of a great achievement in the history of the U.S. space program, President Bush set out ambitious goals for America's future in space. But as White House correspondent Leslie Stahl reports, those dreams for tomorrow could fall victim to the realities of today.
Back to the moon, back to the future, back to stay. The president's words as he commemorated the 20th anniversary of man's landing on the moon. For the United States, he declared, space is the inescapable challenge.
We must commit ourselves anew to a sustained program of manned exploration of the solar system, and yes, the permanent settlement of space.
President Bush called for a manned outpost on the moon and a voyage to Mars sometime in the 21st century, nothing more specific. He tugged at the nation's heartstrings.
Step outside tonight with your children or your grandchildren, lift your eyes skyward, and tell them of the flag, the American flag that still flies proudly in the ancient lunar soil.
Armstrong, Aldrin, Collins, the Apollo astronauts who took that step for man, were with the president today to help build support for what Mr. Bush called some unfinished business.
We have rested on our Apollo laurels long enough. It's time to get moving again.
But in this era of budget cuts, that may be pie in the sky.
At the same time, this very day up on the Hill, we are, in fact, fighting very hard for the very life of Space Station Freedom.
Freedom, a precursor to the Moon and Mars missions, is already in development, but Congress wants to cut its budget. Democrats say the president is being unrealistic.
We are told, well, this is for all mankind to take a step forward. No, it's not. Poor and working people and older people who are ill-housed or are spending too much for housing, it's a pushback for them.
I guess the bottom line is you can't go to Mars on a credit card. This is one trip that has to be pay-as-you-go.
In sum, Mr. President, there's no such thing as a free lunch.
Budget Director Richard Darman estimates that the cost of the Moon and Mars projects would be $400 billion by the year 2020. Solving the budget deficit will have to come first. Leslie Stahl, CBS News, the White House.
Today's Wednesday. For some people, just another day. But not for me, because like yesterday, and every day since recovering from my heart attack, I'm following my doctor's orders and taking an aspirin.
Only your doctor knows what's best for you. So if you've had a heart attack,
Ask how a regimen that includes exercise, a healthy diet, and tri-buffered bufferin every day might benefit you.
Bufferin's a part of my life now.
Tri-buffered bufferin. Ask your doctor about it.
Dear Malox, my daughter's dates give me Malox moments.
Hey, I'm here!
Last night was a real doozy. What a Malox moment. My stomach did flip-flops. Good thing Extra Strength Malox Plus is so strong. My doctor recommended it, and it's the strongest antacid I can buy. With teenagers, Malox is a must.
Nice house.
Nice earring.
Write us about your Malox moments. Extra Strength Malox Plus. Strong relief for all your Malox moments.
The day may come when every washer will handle all your fabrics with expert care and get your big loads really clean. But isn't it nice to know Whirlpool has washers that will do it today?
Are your teeth sensitive? Do they hurt? Sensodyne toothpaste can help stop the domino effect that can start with sensitivity. Then pain can make you stop brushing and can lead to tooth loss. Sensodyne toothpaste helps stop the pain and the domino effect.
A surprise setback for the nomination of William Lucas to be chief enforcer of U.S. civil rights laws. A key congressman who gave Lucas red carpet treatment yesterday pulled the rug out from under him today. Rita Braver reports.
Senators called it an unprecedented about-face. Yesterday, influential Democratic Congressman John Conyers introduced and endorsed William Lucas, the Bush administration's controversial nominee to head the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. Today, Conyers came back to say he changed his mind.
And it's with a slightly heavy heart that I come here to withdraw my endorsement of Bill Lucas.
Conyers' reason, Lucas's testimony yesterday that a recent series of Supreme Court decisions narrowing affirmative action laws has not set back progress in civil rights.
I was frankly astounded. We are in crisis in the civil rights movement.
And for the same reason, the powerful chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, who yesterday said he was leaning toward voting to confirm Lucas, says he's now leaning against.
When I asked him whether or not the Supreme Court was moving the right way or the wrong way, he didn't have an opinion. Makes me wonder whether or not he'll fight.
Tonight, a Justice Department spokesman said that Lucas was merely voicing views previously expressed by the President and the Attorney General, and to expect him to denounce those views is unrealistic. Rita Braver, CBS News on Capitol Hill.
The Organization of American States today called for a transfer of power on September 1st in Panama. However, the compromise resolution did not say specifically that military strongman Manuel Noriega should step down. The OAS called for free elections as soon as possible. The United States delegate said the resolution clearly means that Noriega must go, but Panamanian opposition leaders said it was toothless and a sellout by the OAS.
You can see the dream of success in the eyes of people all across America. At Citicorp, we understand the dream. That's why, as Citicorp and Citibank, we've become America's largest financial services organization, already helping 1 in every 5 American families, with more home mortgages, more student loans, more MasterCard and Visa cards than any other company. We'd like you to get to know us better. Citicorp, because Americans want to succeed, not just survive.
Why can't they make a stronger flea collar?
Someone has. Scratch X. Look, compared to Hearts and Sergeants, Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas. Compare. All these collars kill fleas, but Scratch X has the power to kill twice as many fleas, since it's government approved to work twice as long.
Yet Scratch X is safe for 3-month-old pets.
Remember, compared to Hearts and Sergeants' 5-month collars, the Scratch X 11-month collar has the power to kill twice as many fleas.
These days, I'm eating better. Less cholesterol, more fiber, plenty of fruits and vegetables. So how come I'm the one with a painful gas?
Surprise! The foods highest in nutrition are often highest in gas. That's why there's Gas X. Unlike the leading antacid, Gas X is the only ingredient approved for the relief of gas pain and pressure. See? Only Gas X gets rid of the gas, so you feel better fast.
I'll eat to that.
Eat right and feel right with Gas X.
A local paper in China's Shaanxi province reported that more than 1,000 people were arrested in a 3-day sweep this week. Chinese dissident leaders in Paris said today they have information that altogether more than 120,000 people have been arrested and more than 100 executed in the crackdown on pro-democracy demonstrators. The latest executions, they said, were carried out secretly. John Sheehan in Beijing reports that sort of secrecy is in line with the government's effort to soften its image abroad.
Amidst the Chinese government's severe restrictions on normal press coverage, martial law authorities invited Western journalists to a PR show. Soldiers doing good deeds for the citizens. It's a kind of street fair offering small repairs, treatment by a military acupuncturist, or even a massage. The location is Hufang Street, the same neighborhood where civilians tried to stop the soldiers advancing on the students at Tiananmen Square. That night ended in a bloodbath and wiped out the myth that the army would not kill unarmed people. The purpose of events like this, offering free services, is to try to erase memories of the massacre and attempt to restore the badly damaged relationship between the People's Liberation Army and the Chinese people. Despite the PR, this is an army of occupation. Their officer, Major Wu Shangchun, is not permitted to reveal their unit, but confirms that the troops come from another part of China. Even as the army tries to make peace with its own people, ordinary citizens tell of nightly arrests and shootings. The soldiers dominate the city in a curious contrast of free haircuts by day, fear by night. John Sheehan, CBS News, Beijing.
The evaluation committee is in your office.
This is my husband, Paul. He's under a lot of pressure. But now he's taking charge of his health, eating right by cutting down on cholesterol and saturated fat. That's why I cook with Puritan, with no cholesterol and proven 94% saturated fat-free. Better than any other kind of oil.
Your wife called sneakers before dinner?
Hey, Mr. Principal, carry your books?
Anytime.
Paul's feeling great, and I am too.
Puritan, make it your oil for life.
When you've got hemorrhoids, walking is hard. Sitting, worse. Anusol has an anesthetic for the pain and itch of hemorrhoids. Prep H doesn't. Anusol has an anesthetic to take the hurt out of hemorrhoids.
How strong is extra strength Tums EX? Heartburn strikes, Tums strikes back. Heartburn's gone that fast. Tums EX, twice as strong, twice as fast as regular Rolaids.
Somewhere there's got to be a cure for athlete's foot.
Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Mycotin. It cured my athlete's foot. It's got something the others don't. Myconazole. There's nothing more powerful.
Hey!
I'm giving away advice, not Mycotin.
Say, what you got for my athlete's foot?
Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Mycotin. It cures athlete's foot. There's even a deodorant Mycotin.
Then I'll take the Mycotin. To go.
Step up to the cure. Step up to the mic. Mycotin. Look for new economy size powder.
20 years ago tonight, a man took the most famous step in history onto the surface of the moon. We all know what that memorable event looked like. Tonight, in the second of two reports from correspondent David Browning, the astronauts of Apollo 11 tell us what it felt like, as only they can.
Altitude 1600. Eagle looking great.
It is so easy 20 years later, so very easy, to remember the awe and the mystery of that moment as a world watched and waited.
540 feet.
Michael Collins felt it, listening in on the landing from his command ship, 60 miles above the moon.
Altitude velocity light.
Starting with the Wright brothers, the Yeager through the sound barrier, Armstrong and Aldrin on the moon. It's in our tradition, it's in our culture.
100 feet, 3.5 down.
Peering out at the austere lunar landscape, Buzz Aldrin felt it.
I think it'd be a great understatement to say that it was the most significant event that happened in my life.
60 seconds.
And Neil Armstrong felt it too.
Lights on.
The touchdown itself, from my point of view, was a real high in terms of elation.
Picking up some dust. Great shadow.
Not so much for the instant, but because it marked the achievement that 1/3 people had been working for a decade to accomplish.
Man on the moon.
Houston,
Oh, jeez.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
And soon Neil Armstrong's step that would change history.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Armstrong says now those famous words came to him only after they'd landed on the moon.
It was a statement that was natural in the sense of the time. It was a step, and thought about it really after we got there.
Both hands down to about the fourth rung up.
No small step for Buzz Aldrin. He jumped.
There you go.
Not squishy, it's bouncy.
Really is.
The velvet, black sky, horizon curving away.
After 21 hours, they lifted off. All along, Mike Collins, orbiting in the command ship, had feared the worst, that Aldrin and Armstrong might not make it, might be lost in space. Collins.
The one that I mistrusted the most was the rendezvous part, bringing this ungainly-looking critter back up from the surface of the moon successfully.
But they looked to Collins rock solid. He remembers saying to himself, Jesus, we really are going to carry this thing off. They did, of course, and they came home to a challenge in some ways more difficult than what they'd just been through. What do you do after you've been to the moon? Buzz Aldrin.
Each person has their own insecurities and their own frailties, and I've managed to succeed in everything that I did, but that didn't bring comfort along with it. It brought growing dis-ease.
On Earth, Buzz Aldrin lost his way. For several years, there was depression, heavy drinking, but he conquered all that, too.
More than half of the years since Apollo 11, I've spent as a sober, recovering alcoholic. And this has given me an ability to socialize with people that used to frighten me to death years ago.
Neil Armstrong has stayed out of the public eye as much as possible. He has taught engineering at the University of Cincinnati and turned down all book offers. Mike Collins ran the country's Air and Space Museum for a time. He and Aldrin both write, arguing that American space policy has drifted far too long, that it's time to head back to the moon and to Mars. Perhaps, says Collins, a new generation will recapture the enthusiasm of those days 20 years ago.
Roger, we copy. Stand by, please.
Buzz Aldrin hopes so, too. He has his first grandson, and already thinks the boy looks like maybe he might have the right stuff.
Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
That's the CBS Evening News. I'm Charles Carroll. Dan Rather will be back tomorrow. Good night.
Bravo on alarm. Same type, we're go, flight. Okay, we're go. We're go, same type, we're go. Altitude 1600. Eagle looking great. Roger, 1202, we copy it. 35 degrees, 750, coming down to 23. 540 feet and at 15. 10 and 50 feet down at 4. Altitude, velocity, light. 3.5 down, 220 feet. 11 forward, coming down nicely, 200 feet.
I'm Harry Smith. Tomorrow, the latest on United Flight 232. Also, baseball superstar Bo Jackson, and at home with Marvin Hamlish on CBS This Morning.
This is CBS.
Good evening.